Morning and welcome to the August 22nd meeting of the Weston County Commissioners. Welcome, and we can start off with Walter.
Our most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for who you are. We just praise your name. Right now we lift up this meeting to you as we seek your will. Lord, I ask that you will speak to the commissioners clearly so that they will know what it is that you wish. And Lord, we just ask that your wisdom prevail here, that peace prevail, and understanding prevail. And we give you all the praise and the glory in Jesus' most beautiful, precious, holy name. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Walter.
Again, welcome, and are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
If I could just add, I have some provider of service contracts that have been mailed back, and so I just need you to sign on before we go, so if we could just add that to the consent agenda.
I would like to add one thing under old business. Paul Bow, I believe will be stopping in, but he went and got some donations for gravel and materials for the school road there, no sewage problem. We would like to know if, I guess, transportation getting it there is an issue. And he said, he was told that if he got the community to get involved, maybe we would be willing to help them. So I told him we would talk about it. I don't know what the deal is about it, but I'd like to talk about that under the business.
Becky, what was it you added under the consent?
Chairman's signature on provider of service contracts.
I'd like to add airport board definition under old business and new business fairgrounds credit card pre-authorization.
Are there any other additions or changes?
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second. I have a motion that's been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving the additions or changes to the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passed. Moving on to the consent. Is there anything we need to pull?
That last resolution that Michael brought forward, what's that one for?
That's, okay, so we might need to pull that and do that separate because it pertains to the
That's what I'm
refinery.
finding. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find.
Yeah.
I'd like to pull that and deal with that separate.
Okay.
Which one was that, Ed?
Resolution 2424.
Okay.
Anything else?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended, or as with the resolution.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second that.
I have a motion that's been properly seconded. With the pulling of 2424 resolution. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
You almost didn't look big enough for that big old truck. That thing's a monster.
That's the same size as all of them.
Ranches will do that to you.
Yeah.
I like my little tiny vehicle. I'll keep it. Are you Marcia?
Marcia.
Marcia?
Abstract,
Okay.
only the chairman signs those.
Marcia. Did any more sign up on the, not yet?
Still none on Upland.
Upton's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
What happens,
Someone comes in by Monday.
what happens if nothing comes in? Write-ins? That's it? Wow. And are there 5 spots open for District 1?
I believe.
You don't have to go check, it's okay.
I believe so. I'll have to double check.
Okay. I couldn't remember specifically, but I think that's what the figure is that I remember
It's
looking
either
at.
5 or 3, and then
Okay.
the next election is the officer.
Then I think it's 5 because we had 3 last time, I believe. Okay. It's hard to remember sometimes.
Well, and see, there was that, and then they had to appoint one of the
I remember.
because he resigned right after the election.
Wow.
But, and then right after. And that's the one that Paul was, Paul from his mom.
Yeah. I remember.
Ban on texting while driving in an airport grant application. Yeah,
Hopefully you're not texting and driving.
I assume it's pertaining to people on the,
On the airplane.
yeah.
Only while landing.
Not taxing.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Has Michael seen that,
That thing,
the airport one?
I just wanted it to you once I got it.
Morning, Michael. How are you?
All right, how are you?
I'm well.
You want to look at it?
Oh. My head was cold. And I love my Mighty Mouse cat. Best cartoon character ever.
You guys are looking through that, I'll move on to public comment. Is there any public comment? Which one? Oh, the resolution, I'm sorry. I'll wait. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution 2024?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a motion to approve resolution 2024 and a proper second. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to abstain from that as an employee of the refinery, and this pertains to them.
Just had a question. You're going to attach the petition with the resolution, Becky, when it's filed?
So this is what you want filed in the back or
Yeah.
just as a resolution?
Yeah, well, this is a resolution, should be filed with the petition attached.
Just in the resolution book?
Yeah. Well, no. I think it has to be made of record.
Well, see, when I sent you that email, I was wondering if we had to do something in the vault that now when someone is searching for that property, that is like part of the
Yeah.
property. We need to now do like a warranty deed that states that there's a land use
Well, you don't do
stipulation.
a warranty deed for a
No,
stipulation.
not a warranty deed, a document filed in the vault that says if someone were to come and buy that property now, there's a land use document now,
Yeah.
not a resolution. Because people, when they come to search in the vault, they don't search the resolutions. They're searching in the vault for the document on that property. They need to know that there's some stipulation now on that land. They're not gonna look in the resolution book.
Well, that's why I said this resolution, you file it in the vault, because then it gives notice that on that property, there's that resolution, and then, because it makes it of record in the land records with the authority that the board created this land use thing, and
Just with the minutes, file this resolution with the minutes.
and the resolution references the petition, which has the restrictions and the legal description. So the petition, as referenced in the resolution, needs to be attached to the resolution with the minutes. So when they search that land, they know that that's part of that issue.
But what I'm saying is, they're still not gonna go to the commissioner minutes when they search that land.
Yeah.
We need something drawn up as far as a land document.
Well, that's why we attach the petition, because it has the legal description.
I know what you're saying.
I know, but he's not getting what I'm
So-
saying. There needs to be like a.
Can you write it in the book under that
But we
property?
need to have a document. I can't just file a
So you
resolution.
can't write it in that book as a resolution so they can look it up?
No, because I need to have a legal document to file, is
Well,
what I'm saying. This isn't a legal document.
The resolution references the real property. That's subject to the land use restriction. I mean, the petition, yeah, resolution references the petition, which has the legal description. So it says the referenced legal description in the attached
But
petition.
what she's saying is if a title company comes in to search that property, they won't be going into the commissioner minutes or resolutions.
Yeah, that's why that's filed in the vault in the land records.
But I have to have a title on a document that says quitclaim deed. I have to have a title. I can't just file something. I have to have a title to file it under, even though there's gonna be no charge for that. I can't just file that under that legal description.
Can the company that owns the property come in and,
So I visited with them and they said now it's up to the county because it's the county property. We own the property.
but their property, I'm asking about them specifically, that they're on? This is the oil refinery, right? Or am I not thinking straight here?
But it's the county's property that just all this happened on. We're allowing the land use on it. the-
Which they're
the
also
change of
doing
it.
on theirs, so what did they do with theirs?
This that we advertised is all on the county's property. And if someone were to come in later and purchase this,
What,
it's a change that we just made on the county's property.
so what does Wyoming Refinery do on their property to ensure that a future or landowner knows that when some guy comes in and says, I'm gonna sell this, and some poor schmuck doesn't get stuck?
Right, like on something before?
Mhm.
Oh,
In regards to maybe, you know, when you do an easement, that will show up on the deed when you do a search.
Mhm.
Is there some way that there can be something attached to the document that would, it's not gonna be an easement, but would actually bring up the flag to look at this, like you do with when you're searching and you come up with an easement on a property? You know, because when you're searching property, easements will show up. So then you can go research the easements out. Like this land use is
I
there.
can't attach anything to anything else that's already been
We
recorded.
just have to search easements.
So if they search it up by description, will it pull this document up?
And that's what she's questioning.
That's what I
There's no way
thought.
for it
Yeah.
to flag.
We need something to trigger a flag to come up when you search this document.
Even if a document, I don't know, we just need something that says that property has been changed now with this new land use thing. And that's what I had messaged Michael, but this resolution doesn't do that because this resolution is only gonna go in the commissioner
Can it-
minutes.
Could it
and
be an
the-
amendment to something?
It needs to have an amendment to whatever's already been filed.
All right, well, if you attach the petition, it has the legal description, it can be referenced, but I can I mean, I know you have subcategories, so we can go back and look in what subcategories we need to put it under for your whatever
That way you
document.
can put it in your book
Yeah.
as an amendment, and that way it'll flag for title search.
Either way will work. We'll just do it that way, and I'll just say land use, whatever thing we want to agree on that's appropriate for the,
Because even the land use isn't filed in the book.
Wouldn't, taking Commissioner Todd's suggestion, if we just look back at how the refinery's done it and do it in the same way that they filed it, that way
I
everything's
don't
the same.
even know if they
They
filed
may
anything
not
on
have
their
done it.
property.
And maybe they haven't, but at least we would know.
I bet you if we reached out to that DEQ gentleman, we may be able to guide us to somebody that's done it in the past. And
He's the one that reached out to me that we needed to get something
Can you call him?
updated on our property.
Yeah, but can you call them back and say, hey, so give us, what in the past, because you've dealt with this before, give me somebody to call and say how they've done it. I don't know, unless you feel like, whatever, Michael, when you.
Yeah, we
an
can-
amendment, you can-
I think we can figure out the subcategories you can put in.
whatever.
No, we haven't passed it yet, we got.
It's,
So So we have a motion and a proper second. Who seconded it?
Me.
Okay. Is there any, I didn't remember him seconding, but okay.
He did.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of passing the resolution 2024 with the stipulation of what's required for Becky's minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
That was difficult.
Yeah.
Is that because of the remediation plan that this came up?
Pass that down.
No, it's because I keep somebody from buying it to build on it, something that,
Okay,
like a daycare center or something.
okay.
So now we can go on to. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? All right, sorry we're a few minutes late, but moving on to HR discussion with Marcia, right?
Right,
Come on up.
okay.
If you could state your name
Yep.
on the mic and come up here.
Marcia Romano. Used to be Marcia Streets, is my maiden name. And, what else do you do?
That's
It's
it.
good for you.
Okay. Where do you want me?
Anywhere you want.
I passed out Marcia's resume again, and I believe she has something else for us, but you kindly agreed to bring her in to ask her any questions you might have pertaining to possibly see what she could do to help us with some of our human resources needs. Have a seat if you want, or
Okay.
stand, whatever's more comfortable for you, Marcia.
Hi, how are you? Good. Thank you.
One for you.
Your chairs.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up there. What I have just handed you is just a proposal, some ideas from things I've learned about possible needs. And so I tried to figure out a timeline on that and a way to get things done very quickly and early. It's not by any means set in stone, but I just wanted to bring it to you to kind of have an overall picture of what was in my mind to address some of the needs and issues and to make changes or whatever's needed. I don't know any priorities, and so I was just guessing. But stepping back, I'm a third generation Weston County. My grandparents homesteaded towards Oak Mountain in 1902. And so I don't know if any of you are old timers enough to remember my dad, but he was Ray Streets, the barber here for 45 years. So. And as you can see on that huge old ugly resume, I spent 30 years down in Arizona. And I worked in a handful of different positions, and I left them all. But they all had to do with looking at people as resources. I was human resource in hospice that was very large. It encompassed Pinal County and Maricopa County, which is all of Phoenix. And I did the human resource and volunteer coordinating for both counties, for both hospices. And so we had several hundred employees and several hundred volunteers in each office. And I was tasked to come in and kind of revamp their human resource program and started a lot of new areas there. And we were under the spotlight for JACO and state and federal audits. And we always pass with flying colors. I'm pretty meticulous in the things that I do. I don't waste time, I get things done quickly. Another area that I worked was the Pinal County Sheriff's Office, and they hired me to run volunteers, and we had 300 volunteers by the time I left, which was a lot. Do I need to pause?
Yes, just 1 second.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yep, we got it back.
Where was I? And so I honestly did forget where I was, but Pinell County Sheriff's Office and working with the volunteers. And that, in my background, working with volunteers is non-paid staff members. There's different laws and legal requirements, usually federal, for how you deal with volunteers, but it's the same premise. And so I ran a huge program there with multifaceted groups, chaplains. I was the head of the victim service, so I did emergency response as well. And we were award winners. My programs that I developed, which had a lot of administration and human resources packed into it, because we had to abide by all of the rules of the county and of the state of Arizona. My programs were replicated by 7 different sheriff's office throughout the nation. And so I do good, clean work and get things done rather quickly. So did you have specific questions from me?
So what is your experience with, obviously, we're a different kind of system here when we have elected officials and then we have county employees. And there's different rules, obviously, and different ways of handling things. What, have you had any experience with that, and what, can you tell us what those experiences were?
Just, the only elected official I worked for was the Pinell County Sheriff. And so in that, I worked with, they call them Board of Supervisors down where they are, and worked closely with them, and we had to get different things approved, and it was pretty, well, I guess I'd use the word meticulous, because we had to do a lot of getting everything approved and okayed as I set up the program. And I guess I should mention that I wrote grants. We had federal grants. And so I know about reporting and statistics and providing transparent information, you know, to everyone involved, the stakeholders and the public.
We can make her hold it. Must be bad connections today.
Somebody might ask Ms. Harshbarger if it's gonna cause an issue with her schedule.
Thank you for asking. I'm okay.
Okay.
I gave it to you.
Thank you.
It's not just a signal problem. I have strong signal. As strong as I can get.
Or you, man, sorry, forgot, you were over there. Fixing schedule.
I was sleeping. What were you saying?
Or your schedule.
I'm with Kathy.
Yeah, okay.
Great, I know I can get rid of wind noise and static noise. I don't know if I can get rid of Z's.
I know.
All of the above.
Don't.
I'll stand by your signature.
It is my mark, you're right. It'll come
I've
out.
got one bar and it just keeps going in.
That machine always does.
Oh, it is the machine, it's truly the machine on it.
It's the wheel. Type out a thing out of order. Check that later.
Where'd you score the Mighty Mouse hat?
I actually got it at seconds and I was so surprised because he's been my favorite cartoon character all my life. Yeah.
Marcia, so what I see that we need is the basis for a good system to keep track of employee files, to keep track of changes, to work on training, and which that would be all kinds of training. So we need somebody to set up the basis of the system. I don't know, we put it in the files in Michael's office or what we decide to do. And then start with training, sexual harassment training, maybe some review training, all sorts of things that to help everybody do their job better. One of the things that has come up lately, we have a 3-tier salary system, which seems to be confusing to everyone and seems to be not consistent across the board. That's another thing that we're dealing with. So do you feel like you would be comfortable with starting from scratch? I think you'd be starting from scratch and teaching us how to go forward in teaching the elected officials and supervisors how to go forward and use the system and start going, helping track the training and do all of that, make sure everybody has it.
In addition to the weekly printed version of the newsletter journal, we also promote our community and share important information on our award-winning website, newslj.com, and in our weekly email newsletter, Nuke Now. We also connect with readers through various social media platforms and invite you to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can even take a look at a recent meeting of the City Council, School Board, or County Commission on our YouTube channel. We do hope that you will go to newslj.com and subscribe today, and we look forward to making all of our great content available to you. But regardless of your level of support, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing your part to preserve a free and independent local press.
How to go forward and use the system and start going, helping track the training and do all of that, make sure everybody has it. Do you feel you'd be comfortable with that? And then I'd like you to, it's like a Miss America contest. And then I'd like you to maybe give your opinion on salary scales, if you've ever seen a 3-tier system. It's new to me, so.
One thing I didn't mention was I moved here a little over 10 years ago, and for 6.5 years I was human resource at the Honor Camp. And so we had about 89 employees with that. And so I'm very familiar with state of Wyoming rules and regulations. And so I probably patterned some things from theirs. What works, what didn't quite work, we might do something a little differently. But my thoughts was with the board's commissioner's approval, if this should go, I would like to meet with people from Campbell County, and wherever you would direct, to find out what it is they're using, how it's working, and just educate myself on a lot of their things. And I do start things from scratch, but I also pirate with permission. Best practices, finding out what works in other places, and then no plagiarism, but redoing it so it fits for our needs. That's part of my plan for start from scratch on that. I have given board member training, advisory member training for different groups throughout the years. Visioning process, goal setting, long-term, goals and short-term objectives, and walking through like a day-long workshop on the vision process. And so I'm very comfortable with that. And one of my favorite things to do is training. At the honor camp, I was involved in training a lot. And we had to do annual trainings for all staff members and for all supervisors as well. And so while I was there, I worked with the then training lieutenant, and we developed some new training and really delved into personalities in the workplace because we had all the standard trainings down, but how to team build and how to work better together within units, and how different personality types can work better together on a team towards a focused vision. And so I'm really comfortable and I enjoy training and also developing training.
What do you think about the 3-tier system? Have you ever seen that before?
I'm sorry, I forgot you had
That's
said
okay.
that. Yes, and again, I'm gonna have to do homework on that to find out. Were you segueing from a tiered system into something else or into the tiered system?
We've always had a 3-tier system for salaries.
Okay. And so and that has to do with stepping by time only?
You start at the bottom,
Mhm.
and then you can move to the middle, and then the deputies make the top 2.
Okay. And so the individual job position is stuck in one tier,
Yeah, there's 3 different
not the other
positions
thing.
in each office,
Okay.
unless the commissioners give reasons.
Okay, all right. With that, then, yes, I do know about the tier system, and I do know some of its flaws. And one of the things that we ran into at the honor camp was they changed the salary to become more competitive with recruitment. And we had a lot of officers and sergeants stuck where we were bringing in people at almost their salary. And so it was a real akin to that, it was real similar. And so Human Resource had to, and A&I had to totally readjust everything, to accommodate so that the set wages were changed all up and down the mark. And so.
Any other questions for Marcia? Go ahead.
On this proposal you handed us out, 90-day contract, how many hours a week or month are you thinking you'll have to use to get?
To get everything done that I put there, I was very go-getting on this. Probably over 40 hours a week. So, and I will be working weekends sometimes, and evenings into the night. That's the nice thing about contract, is you're not just set, so. But I do a lot of work quickly. And why I left the honor camp, in case anybody wants to know, I enjoyed it very much. They switched over, Department of Corrections, Human Resource was absorbed into A&I, and they didn't have a clue about corrections. And so they were then the masters of all the human resource. My 2 bosses also quit in human resource, and as far as I'm aware, there's only one of us remaining, that they had to rehire new folks and shuffle and things. So it was kind of an upheaval, but I believe I'm hireable back, should I ever want to go.
So as a contractor, I'm assuming that you want to work out of your home for now.
I would enjoy that. That way I could work off hours and, as it works, for my schedule. And if I get on a roll, I can just keep going and not a lot of interruptions and things like that. That would be really nice and cost effective as well.
So if a situation arose where we needed HR services. And it was, say, an investigation type thing where he said, she said, that I said, that you said.
Yeah.
How would you handle a situation like that if, and would you be able to work with the county attorney to?
Yeah.
I mean, to kind of come up with a non-partisan, here it is, and, you know, no skin in the game. How would you handle that?
Okay. I'd have to refer to policies, procedures, your handbook, which by the way is wonderful. And work, you know, through that to see what you have in force, that would need to be complied with. And then, of course, I'd work with the county attorney, you know, on anything like that. I'm very comfortable with that. I worked with the, a couple different representatives from the Attorney General's office. And being human resource at the honor camp, I had to, I was the front person, so it was the warden and I working on all disciplinary. I typed up and did all of the formal letters, putting people on suspension, starting the investigation process, and so I'm very comfortable with it, with that. And also, I might mention workers' compensation. I think I've made notes of that, and FMLA, putting those to make sure the process is all ready to go. There's a lot of federal requirements that you need for both of those, state and federal, to have in place, like documenting and annual reporting and things like that, back to state workers' comp, and to have ready for audits for FMLA. And so new forms developed, and making sure that our filing system, you know, for those two specifically. And I got a reputation of kind of being a bear about fighting workers' comp claims. I mean, not workers' comp claims, but unemployment claims. Because a lot of times with employees, they broke policy and then were asked to leave and then wanted, you know, to claim. So my idea of human resource is twofold. Your staff members are your biggest resource, you know, as a county. And they deserve, you know, to have solid, by the book, rules, regulations, things that they know to abide by. One thing that I think is imperative is every person, whether it be a volunteer board member or a paid staff member, needs to have a functioning, workable scope of work job description. You can't ask people to do their jobs and uphold unless they have this in front of them that their supervisors can refer back to and say, look, this is in your job description, you were doing this, stop doing this, and come back to your scope of work. It makes it real easy for everybody concerned. And unfortunately, if it's time to do discipline or terminate someone, you have to have that job description to refer back to. And so you might have noticed I put that early on in there. And again, I'm kind of going blind because I'm not sure, you know, how they are, what they look like. But I did write into that proposal that, you know, if you guys want, we can sure start over and do some revisions on the needed job descriptions. It's important. And it's important for liability, for the HR office and also for the commissioners, you know, to have all of these paperwork ready. And just jumping real quick into your training, it's okay, wonderful if people have training, but unless it's documented and signed off and in the file, you've got nothing. And so that documentation in the filing system has to be so clean and so orderly and so secure. So those things are very important.
Last question for me anyway is, so when you get this set up based on this contract, are you okay if this contract, say we have nothing for 6 months that needs attention, now there will be training or whatever, but I'm saying, no HR issue where it's required, where you have an investigation and you look into things. Is that something that you'd be willing to do in a contractual agreement as well, you know, just based on time? This
Yeah.
took a week, or this took 3 days, or whatever, to be able to evaluate the situation, advise, and I'll call it administer what needs to be done. Is that something?
Yes, I think so. I kind of left that open-ended. I wasn't sure what you guys needed, you know, time-wise and things like that for longer, but I just kind of came to a hard stop there and then looked at the volunteer, you know, boards and different things. And, but yeah, absolutely. I'm not interested in a full-time job with benefits. I think the contract position would work really well for me. And maybe there's something that we could do, you know, for later on when you guys are needing something or specifics or trainings or different things like that. Yeah, I'd be happy to.
My reasoning for asking that question before you go is that I thought that, you know, if we did something like that, then that would eliminate the other subscription that we pay for, and maybe save us some money as well. But go ahead, Commissioner Tell.
You mentioned plagiarism with allowing somebody else, with somebody else's consent. Would you consider us breaking this apart potentially and piecemealing something together and even potentially advertising it just so that our bases are covered, so that if some other individual says that, say these are the 4 things that we like out of this, or the 3 things we really like out of this, and then can we potentially advertise for something like that? And I mean, I like what you put together. There's a few things that I think might be already covered, of course, but there is some things like Vera was mentioning, the salary steps that I think we need to address that, and I'm not 100% certain on how to address that issue at this point. But
Yes, absolutely. Feel free to use that and make
Okay.
changes to it and put it out to the public, because this was by no means something that is mine. One of the things I thought about when I had talked to Vera, one of the things that was that's my hometown. You know, I've been gone a long time, but I'm back. And so if I can be helpful in any capacity, I'll be happy to.
the only caveat I see being an issue is your final paragraph. If we were to break this down, of course, there would be some different terminology on how a person would be paid for the said services, and that's something that we would have to figure out, and I don't know how to do that via advertising for X, Y, and Z so that we're offering the same thing to the same person out there that might want to do what you're offering, I guess.
Would it be bid? Would it be a bid process?
It probably would be.
Yeah.
As an independent contractor.
If it's a
Bid
contract,
process.
Any other questions for Commissioner?
I appreciate you coming in. Vera's talked about you for about a year or so now, and it's nice to finally meet you. And I like what you've done here, and I think that given a chance to digest some of this, maybe at the next meeting, we can get it on the agenda, and maybe if there's A, B, or C we think we can't live without, maybe we then start that, get that process rolling and see if we can do something.
Okay.
We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, Marcia.
Uh-huh.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Good to meet you.
You guys did a job.
Sorry I ran late.
We're a little bit behind, but
It's okay.
Kathy and Ann.
Thank you.
State your name for the record, please.
Thank you. Kathy Harshbarger, CEO for Weston Health Services. Thank you for your time today, and it's good to meet all of you. I appreciate the time for that as well. We are coming back to you, as we have in previous years, where at the 4-year mark, we can ask for an additional 3 mil levy. And we are asking for that, to be put on the ballot so that the county can vote on it. What else should I tell you? You know, I'd like to remind people that hospitals, nursing home, clinics, things like that we have in a rural community, if we have those, that makes us a very viable community. I know money's tight for everybody these days, so I don't know for sure how the levy will go, but I'd like to be able to entertain it because I'm actually, I think we can say, and that we're doing a lot of good work, cleanup work for the hospital that we needed to do. And we just don't get the reimbursements like we used to. I do think we can enhance that over the next year, but the reimbursements are not quite like they used to be. And we are like many other critical access hospitals and nursing homes and that we're trying to stay sustainable within organizations. We have to be part of our communities. And I think we're a critical need, that's my opinion. So, you have any questions for me?
I guess just one, like to clear up for the people online watching and for the record stuff. If this mill levy's passed off the vote, it will not raise your taxes because it's already being collected. If it doesn't pass, your taxes are actually gonna go down. Just want to make sure everybody's aware that one way or the other, if it passes, your tax levy is gonna stay the same because it's already in place. It has been in place for the past 4 years.
Right.
So. And it's not a permanent, it'll have to be done in 4 years to come back again.
Yeah, but I just would love your consideration of it, basically, for the community. We have about 200 employees, so they depend on those jobs too. And if I can answer any other questions.
I see no problem passing this resolution. That way it gets out to the voters. It's up to the voting public to decide if they want to do it or not. All we're doing is just making the avenue available for the voters.
Yes.
I think we all know how important our hospital is to us. It's very important to us. I guess I'm okay with this, but I also would ask you to, I know there's been some problems getting transparency towards your budget and profit and loss statements and things like that. And that's important to not only us as commissioners, but that's really important to the public. They watch that. They watch it very closely, people who really care. So.
Thank you for that feedback. We've actually been working on that. We have an interim CFO right now while we're in the process of hiring a permanent. And we actually are hoping to be able to get that out within the next month or two. We really have to do a lot of reconciliation to be able to get to that. We do have a budget per se, but we're going to probably refine that a little bit. So I can completely understand.
I'm encouraged. I feel like we're making progress. I told Kathy here a few days ago, I feel like we're making, this is the first time I've been on the board, since I've been on the board, so for 2.5 years, so it feels like we're actually making progress towards getting money reports that release everything. I'm really actually quite encouraged about that.
I think you have a lot of good people at the hospital.
Yes.
I'm glad that it's going to the ballot. I mean, there's personal views on it involved. I feel like there's still some real low-hanging fruit for the hospital.
Yes.
The 340B is a good example of that. That benefits not only the hospital, but everybody around and your competitors, obviously. It's curious to me why that has taken so long because even H&H, which you need to read out the window, wouldn't matter what consulting firm, it's a national thing, but that's irrelevant. I love the fact that you're in a tough spot because the CEO's job is not to be everybody's buddy. It's to make the best decisions for that. And you can't let the tail wag the dog.
Well,
And so you're in a tough position, but I have seen and heard some really good things. And I just hope you keep it moving. If you don't fix the problems, though, throwing money, you can throw a ton of money at it and it's not gonna change it, so.
Well, we just did a recertification for the 340B and we are working on that, just so you know, actively to try to get that
You have,
up and running.
yeah, you missed the quarterly sign, but you have a couple more months.
Mhm.
Intimately aware of the 340B and how it works.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that it's a win-win for everybody.
Right, I agree, very much. I have a lot of work ahead of me, but we're doing good.
Well, I've heard good things, so.
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you for taking on the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Love the community and I'm happy to be here.
I make a motion to approve the resolution to get the 3 meals at the hospital on the ballot for the general election.
So
Thank you.
I have a motion, though I have 2 seconds, but do that one there. That's been properly seconded. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of passing the motion to add this to the ballot, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
It's just allowing it on the ballot, we don't have to do a resolution, you guys already have yours, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
Have a good day.
Hand counting the ballots. I guess I'll start off with this. I had Michael look into it, and please correct me if I'm wrong with this. Once a ballot is made for a specific device, I think Alan misinterpreted the statute. We approve the electronic devices that we use. And once a ballot is printed for those electronic devices, that's the ballot that has to be used. We actually cannot do a hand ballot when we have those printed ballots. Am I stating that correctly?
Yeah, once the ballot's made for a machine specifically, it has to be for a machine and it can't be hand counted. So that's pretty.
There, according to the Attorney General's office, the deputy that I talked to, she was pretty knowledgeable and she didn't make a determination. This is her opinion, but if we were to go with hand balloting, counting ballots, there's faults with that too. And there's been nothing, and I want to commend Becky, which she tested when she really didn't need to a couple of times, I believe, before this election. So I still think that, it's really up to the people what they want, but there's been no reason to question it because the results have been accurate and the testing has been accurate. And the question of could we do a hand count, we couldn't by statute, correct?
Not if you,
Yeah.
well, not the preprint for the general. Going forward's a different discussion, but.
Right.
Yeah.
It's something we can't decide on 2 weeks before the election starts because there's ballots that are printed and so forth. The commission can decide to hand count ballots, but we already decided, or the board decided that they were using the devices that we use. So that's the information that I learned. So, any other issues with that? All right. Osage we put on, okay, so I don't see Paul here, but the issue is I guess the quarry, Pinnacle Bank, have donated about 6 loads of rock or road base or whatever that they need to fill those potholes in Osage. And we told them if they would go out and see what the community would do with this donated, that then there's an issue of getting it there and dumping it so that it can be spread. And the question was asked is, would the county be willing to get the material there? I mean, it's obviously that kind of loads, you take a pickup truck, but it takes 30 of them to get it anywhere. So I don't know how it feels, but I did tell them that we would bring it up and talk about it since we did tell them to go get. Go ahead.
Just my opinion is you're now diverting county resources to a private road, and I'm not sure that that's a wise thing for this board to do. I know that there's been discussion in here that some seem to think that it's a county road, but it is, everything I've seen, it was not a county road.
Any other comments?
I like the idea of this, but I would hate to set the precedent of using county equipment on the private road, because it's pretty obvious that that roads are improved by the Osage Improvement District, by the way that the deeds and everything are done. Because if we open up the Pandora's box about putting county equipment on private roads, even though they're a public road, they're privately owned public road. So I would go against diverting any county equipment to doing that.
I believe we told them though, if you could come up with some other resources to get it, come back and we would see what we'd do. That's why I brought it back up in here. So they did come up with some donations for rock or material or whatever it takes, which I commend them for. They just have to find a way to get it moved. But
Question I had was if they discussed any of this with the school board. I believe that they determined the bus routes and see if there's anything that could be accommodated differently, or if that road is the only option for a bus route. Might be something worth a discussion of anyway.
okay.
That day when they were in here discussing that, one of the Osage Improvement District members told me that there's 2 designated bus stop pickups and neither of them are on that road. So I'm not sure if the bus driver just kind of goes up the road and out of the kindness of his heart, or what's going on there, but I'm not. Whether that's 100% accurate, I do not know, but it was discussed that day. I think the fire hall was one, and can't remember where the other one was. They were both basically on that piece of pavement that the highway department owns, off of what the highway department owns.
All right. Any other comments? Okay. Moving on to new business.
Airport board.
Oh, airport, thank you.
I don't need to spend a lot of time on this, but we did talk about this at our last meeting, and it was somewhat injected with short-term notice, so minutes did mention that I was confused on the definition of the airport board, still am to this day on the confusion of whether or not legally it is an advisory committee or a board of trustees. We do have record that December 5th of 1954 that it was defined as an advisory committee. And the explanation that I've received since then is the operations of the board is showing that it is a board of trustees, although I don't see a legal description of that.
So I sent an email to the FAA and the state of Wyoming, and they came back to me and told me December of what was the date that I
December
told you?
5th, 1954.
It was 54.
Was the day that the airport board was created.
For their purpose.
No, and so then when I went to those minutes,
Yeah.
that's when it says, and just because the minutes does not say airport board, that whoever took the minutes that day might not have put airport board specifically, but I found it in the minutes, I sent it to you, and you said you wanted to see a resolution. Well, there must not have been a resolution that day, but that's what the FAA is going off, state of Wyoming, they're the ones that told me that was the date.
Yeah.
I found it in the minutes,
And then
send it to Michael.
that's how they give funding. I mean,
No.
that's the basis for when, yeah.
I found it in the minutes, that specific date.
But they use it as a board, as part of their, that's how they determine.
From that date on, that minute was taken from that date on, says airport board. So I believe that date was when it was created as the airport board.
Just plain devil's advocate
That's how the commission.
issues with,
And I told Michael that. I said, you open this up and you say it's not an airport board. Every penny that was ever given from the feds, the state, and everything will have to be given back.
With that much weight lying on the definition of this board, I think it would be wise of the county to consider a clarification of that board at this point.
we can amend minutes, but can you go back and amend minutes? That, you can't, it would have to be your current minutes,
Well, yeah,
right?
you guys weren't part of that meeting,
Yeah,
I'm
so-
assuming.
So how do you, I mean, just, maybe just do a clarification of minutes of some sort? I don't know.
I don't know if you need to touch it. Just because that's how, like we said, the funding, that's what the funding's based off of, that's how it's been understood. I don't know if it,
They're acting that way.
yeah, I don't know. I think if it's easy to screw up something.
Well, it's easy to screw up that first set of
Mhm.
minutes of how it was clarified, because every set of minutes, I went back, everything from those minutes on say airport board.
I just wanted you to.
It was how that very first, because they said it was this many people would come back and advise the board. And then from that day on, they were referred to as the airport board.
The new store. This is the one-stop shop. We have a pharmacy. We have a bootlegger's liquor. The deli, the food that you can get at a lunchtime is so amazing. The coffee shop. Certain Friday mornings, there's 30 people sitting here in all these chairs. This is the hub for people to come and visit, have their coffee, have their donuts. It's amazing what this area has done. Totally amazing.
This many people would come back and advise the board. And then from that day on, they were referred to as the airport board. So to me, that group that was said to advise the county commissioners was set up as the airport board. I don't know where the confusion is coming from. Because they were advised to come back to the board, and then from the minute, every minute moving forward, they were referred to as the airport board. So where's the confusion?
They're in the state and the FFA, and then they're all under the understanding that it was done as converted from advisory board to or set up as a board that day.
They never once said anything about an advisory board. That day, when it said that group will come back and report back to the Board of County Commissioners, that was the formation of the airport
From
board.
day one.
From
the
day
FFA
one,
believed
they
it
were
was-
the airport board. And then every group of minutes going forward says airport board.
That aeronautics group was not the FAA in 54, it was the wording in there. The FAA wasn't established until after 54.
No, I'm not talking about the establishment of any FAA. I'm talking about the airport board. I
But-
contacted the FAA.
It was talking about the FAA in 1954.
Well, whichever board it went through,
Because I contacted the people that I get every email from at the state and the FAA, who deals with everything that I need to send on to the airport board, to ask them. I said, there is a question of when the airport board was created. Can you please tell me? And they even said, they are the ones that helped me search through everything.
I feel like we're kicking a dead horse here.
And they, said this is where, and I went and searched and found it all.
To clarify again, Michael, what is the definition of our airport as far as you're concerned? That way.
I believe it's a board. I mean, the minutes don't specifically say it, but like Becky said, she found the minutes. It's been a board since. The funding from the various agencies is based on that. It's a board of trustees. Yeah. So it's a board of trustees, and we have to follow all the requirements
I think I
that goes
mentioned
with
that,
it.
just so you know, Commissioner Todd, that we're still, that they sent another, and I just got Tim to read it. The city is concerned that they didn't have say in what happened there. So I'm just trying to make sure it's on the record that it is a board or it isn't a board, so that everybody's satisfied. And that's, I think the confusion where she said it comes from is everything that we have. And I can show it to you, just so you know what we're talking about. That's not out of commissioner time. That's out of our commissioner book. She sent it, and
I would say what Michael just did was put it on the record.
yep, I would agree.
I mean, historically, from day one, it has been treated as a board of trustees. Even though the records stated it as board of advisors in that day, but it's been treated historically as board of trustees.
But it doesn't even call it a board of,
Trustees, it calls it
Trustees.
advisory on that
It
one.
it
was
just
on
said
your-
they will come and advise the
Yeah.
board.
It
They
wasn't
didn't
an
call
advisory
it an
board, it was just an-
advisory board.
It was pretty,
I think maybe their confusion comes from the board also goes to them for like the hangers and
Yeah.
those type of things. So that's, I don't think this, it's a feud. I just think it's a clarity thing.
I think it's board.
What's a board? And I don't know. It sounds like it's a county board, right? Not a joint board. I don't think there's any joint.
It's a board, but they just reimburse us for half.
Yeah, but it's not a joint powers or anything.
No, it's not.
It's just a county. It's not just. It's a county board, not just a county. It's a county board.
Okay, is there any other? Okay. Now we'll do it, isn't
No.
Malabor.
Okay, first let me hand this out to you guys.
Yeah.
They haven't even seen it yet. Oh, really?
Well, I mean, literally it was like 5 minutes, so it's like, wow.
I want to read the board. Well, I thought I did.
Could you go ahead and introduce yourselves for the record?
For the commission, I'm Greg Stump with the Mallet Board Secretary. I'm Jimmy Lewis, City Chair for the Mallet Board.
Not to speak for you, but I'm assuming you're here because we have a resignation and we need to do some posting and,
Yes.
okay.
And I haven't been through it. I think Greg has, and only you have. So, our board would recommend accepting the resignation for Caleb Thompson. We'd also request the commission to declare the position vacant and open it up for applications.
well, that was just my question is, that's a pretty unique spot up there. Is Caleb basically our employee?
Yes.
Under their supervision.
Right.
Okay, it's kind of what let's come to that, figure that out, because we do the payroll and stuff, so.
And I guess just to enlighten members who weren't here the last two times we did this, the applications were received by the courthouse here. The board, they were given to the board. The board reviewed the applications and I rated them out and got them down to about 6 is what we did out of 18, I think. We interviewed the first round and narrowed it down to 3 and turned it over to the county commission with 3 applications. They interned and interviewed and chose the candidate.
I would, is this board acceptable with doing it that same way again? The hiring process?
I caught wind of this. When's his final day?
September 14th.
So what kind of a position does that put you guys in? Not just having the authority to move forward with doing it yourself by waiting on us to have another meeting, potentially waiting on, I mean, October and these other months by the time we finally find somebody.
Fortunately, moving forward, the timing here is is optimal. We do have hunting season coming up, but by the end of September, 1st October, we'll have all camps taken care of at the lodge.
Okay.
So we do have funds for a relief caretaker for wages. We have talked about finding somebody temporarily to go up there and work, like we did the last 2 times. Work in Caleb's position until we find a permanent replacement.
So you guys think it's fine going through that same avenue probably?
Because there's some of us that didn't go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask you guys, because we'll only pay him half of the month, or, right,
What was his last day?
September 14th.
And his wages should only go to the half of the month.
Or does he have vacation and stuff coming?
We don't have access to that information, so I can't tell you what he has.
Because you'll need to let me know if he needs to be paid the full amount for the month.
Well, if he has vacation, he'd be entitled to it anyway, wouldn't he?
That's what I
Yeah,
need to know.
We pay his wages for the half the month, and then any vacation that's coming due, he has to pay out.
Anything with Caleb's wages, benefits, we don't control and don't have access to. So I don't know where that information is.
We don't keep track of that. I don't keep track.
Maybe that's why he's quit. Got a day off.
You know, I think we should prorate his wages out till the 14th, and then any vacation he's got accrued that needs to be paid out, like we do with the rest of our employees, we pay it. You have to pay it
So
out.
I was looking at the calendar, we can start advertising next week. And then if you want me to cut off date as far as, accept applications till, when do you guys want to accept them till?
Do you guys think 2 weeks ahead?
I was just gonna say, why don't you make the cutoff September 15th? That way it's,
Well, if we start advertising next week and we run it for 2 weeks, that would be, we could do the cutoff September 6th.
That would be better, because our next
Because
meeting
then-
is the 11th of February.
Yeah, that way we can
So-
get
Because
you all
then
the
we can
applications.
get the applications by the 11th.
Do we wanna
And
open
then-
this up to like Casper, so it's
Well,
wider
I'll
than
see
just
where we
Weston County?
advertised last time, because then you guys, if you could get them, then you guys could have the 3 by the 17th.
Yeah,
and then I believe, if I remember correctly, we got quite a few applications when this was opened up before, so, I mean, it's not a bad idea to go out to Casper, but we did get enough the last time Hall was advertised.
I'll see how wide we went.
Yeah, we had 18 applications, I believe, the last time, and the time before that was 15 applications.
But we have to remember we're meeting in Upton that second week of September. Second week.
okay, I guess,
I don't know, because I don't remember ever seeing this help on it, but just out of top of my head, I think this should be a job when we advertise and do the interviews. This probably should be a job that we make sure that there's some kind of criminal background check.
I'd say this is probably one of the more, I mean, they get housing, and, I mean, it's a pretty
And they work with,
good job.
they work around children and they work with finances and all sorts of things. This would be one that would, to me, that's very important. I don't know what Michael
I think it's up
thinks
to the,
about that.
I think it's a good idea, but it's the board's handled things very well up there, so if that's something you guys want.
I believe it's a wise decision for myself.
Christmas Day.
So, do you want to make a motion to post this?
well, first off, let's back up.
It's
I would make a motion to accept his resignation effective September 14th.
Do I have a motion? Second. I have a motion that's been properly seconded to accept Caleb's resignation for the Mount Board. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? I'd like to throw in there, I think Caleb's done a really good job while he's been there. The place looks really good. I don't know the ins and outs, but everything that I've seen, he's done really good work. So I commend the board for that.
Just keep moving forward. I'd make a motion that we advertise that position for 2 weeks with the timeline that Becky stated. So it works,
6th.
yep, it will work in conjunction with you guys' board meetings to get back to us for our second meeting in September.
So I have a motion to advertise running until the 6th in conjunction with the Mallow board. Do I have a second? I have a motion that's been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Appreciate you guys and get the applications to you guys and you back to us and move forward. Thank you guys.
Okay. Yep.
Elevator, which is a problem I hear.
Yes, elevator and AC unit at Wick.
Can you identify yourself for the record?
Brandon Turner, maintenance manager.
2 more months. AC.
Till next year. Yeah. As far as the elevator goes, we did have the motor and the pump replaced. They are now working. There was more wrong within the panel. I had Cone come out. They replaced the power board. And he replaced the contacts and the power supply to the motor. So it's running, except now it thinks it's on the 3rd floor and it won't call the doors. So from Cone, they said they need to send up their adjuster, which is a higher level technician out of Cheyenne, to come take a look and see what he has to do to complete the fix. They're also proposing us with some maintenance contracts, different levels. I'm waiting on them to get them through their legal to get them to us so I can present them to you guys to see what you think. But that will cover all 3 elevators here, the library, and the sheriff's office. For minimum is like quarterly checks, so they'll come up and check the oil levels and the workings on all the elevators. And we could get away from Raby out of Rapid because he is getting older with Parkinson's. And I doubt he's gonna be doing it much longer anyway. And along with that, if we sign a maintenance contract, whatever the fix ends up being, they will half the cost to the county.
So how much are they into us for already?
$4,300 right now.
43, do you have any idea what?
He can't tell me because he doesn't know if it's another board within the cabinet or, you know, they can't give me an exact price quote. What he told me was like, if the guy comes up, he goes, he's a lot faster than my other technician, so it shouldn't take him as long. So say we end up at 10,000, we sign a maintenance contract, they will drop that bill down to 5,000.
That they'll have what we've already incurred and what they're proposed, what it'll take.
What it'll take to fix it, yes.
And did they have any idea where the service contracts would be on price wise?
He has not gotten back to me on that yet. He said he's pushing it through their legal department and then he can let me know what their ranges are. Because you can do everything from covering weekend calls, night calls, just regular calls, basic maintenance. There's like 3 different tiers you can choose from.
So this was, I'm not gonna call it a misdiagnosis, it was just not.
There was more than just the motor and the pump that was wrong. And our normal elevator guy doesn't have the books because it's a proprietary system to be able to troubleshoot that panel.
So then we ended up having to call somebody or
I had to
hire
call Cone.
them.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just making sure I understand.
Or Cone A, whatever.
And they are proprietary people.
They are the owner of Montgomery Elevators.
So they have all,
They have everything they need to be able to.
you know, over the past, I think Raven has been pretty good. for
No,
us, but
Raby's been good and he's been cheaper. I mean, as far as service calls and stuff like that, without a maintenance contract with him. But with Cone, if you're not on a maintenance contract, they had me sign a 745, which says we will pay their regular hourly rate because we're not under a maintenance contract.
What is it, the regular rate?
$542 an hour.
You know someone who
my
wants
God.
to learn about elevators? They should start now.
yeah, I would hate,
For real.
I would hate to have liability insurance though.
Yes.
I guess looking forward, one thing about a service contract like that, it'd be easier to budget it and get it done, you know, from a budgeting standpoint, wouldn't be getting hit with them. But,
A bill here and there that we're not expecting.
yeah, but just be curious to see where their proposals come in at, that's gonna be the big.
Half a younger person in your family don't.
Well, and I asked them what it would cost to modernize it, and they said over 300,000, so the maintenance contract sounds like the way to go to keep what we have going.
Then we need to look into putting a slide in,
Put a fireman's
so we can
pole.
get out.
North pole.
Well, I thought, you know, we could do chair lifts, but then you run into the liability issue if someone's in a wheelchair. Who's gonna take the liability of getting them in and out of that chair lift and
We're kind of locked into.
an elevator?
I don't know what we're gonna do if it's not fixed when the trials begin. Honestly, I don't know.
He said it would be a couple days, so I'm hoping by tomorrow, I'll have his email, if not, it'll be Monday. He put it through day before yesterday, to his legal, he's waiting on them to return it to him, that he can push it out to us.
But currently it's at 4,300 more.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then we'll have.
October, we got
contract
like
is
2.
If we agree to sign it as well.
It would be a monthly.
A monthly payment. Okay, that's what.
Well, I guess I think we should probably advise Brandon to get it fixed, and then once we get the contract, we as a board are gonna have to decide what avenue we wanna move forward with, because we really don't have a choice. We've got to get this fixed
Yeah, because,
with the trials coming
even
up.
with the smaller, just people going to court, there's been comments on social media of us not having.
The elevator.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did they have a timeline when they could get it up and running?
That's what I'm waiting on him to return.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it has to. I've seen individuals go to just watch something they're interested in, and they get to the top of the steps, and like one person, I thought she was gonna have
Fall back.
have a medical issue
Well,
event right there, and I was
we're
worried.
even getting people where they're going up the stairs with walkers, which is scary in itself, and then trying to come down with walkers, and they refuse for us to help them.
Yeah, because there is postings on the elevators, call our offices if you need assistance.
So there's no doubt we need to make a motion to fix the elevator. Not push to it,
Well, it's just,
for the additional funds. It's the board's pleasure.
We need a motion, and we just need to advise Brandon to have him get moved forward with it, because, I mean, this is it's a maintenance issue. It's a building and ground, so it's not an option.
I think it's right, just get it fixed and then we figure out where
We go from there. Okay. I will get back a hold of him. And then as far as the AC at Wick, we've got leaks out of the coil and the heat pump. They put a dye test in it a couple days ago, came back out, and we have bad coil and bad heat pump. And this is their proposal to fix it. It's been an ongoing issue all summer. I've had them out about 3 times.
Is that the original unit that was put in that building?
Yes, it is.
it's a little old.
Yeah, it's.
It's been through a few winters.
This must be the one that Jody always calls. It's
Yes,
the
this-
AC
I'd
side.
make a motion to accept Auditor Reading's proposal to get it to 4-ton heat pump fixed.
Are we gonna do this, Arthur, or building and ground?
Yeah, that's another conversation that needs to happen as far as the ARPA stuff, that, I think that you can do either. But I think that's, again, I don't know, do you want a motion now, Becky, to where it comes from, or when we get the bill, or?
Probably now, in case it comes before.
I would do ARPA probably. Personally, I think.
I'll second that.
All right, so I have a motion, it's been properly seconded to repair the heat pump, AC unit 4-ton, and the $8,959 come out of the ARPA funds. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed?
Get Auditor, stay away.
Can you bring good news one meeting? Just
Right? I
good
know.
news, just-
Hey, I'm almost done trimming out the lawn over there.
And he's putting the black stuff around the trim. It looks amazing.
Thanks, sir. Anything else for me? Have a good day.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon.
Fairgrounds credit card.
Yep, pre-authorization card.
Francie had gotten a hold of me and was unsure how to proceed on I think they were getting ready to make a purchase for their QuickBooks. They've already got their checkbook back.
And she talked to Dawn and I, and we both told her that they have their money back and they don't have to ask us anymore.
Okay. And I guess what she was wanting to verify was that is also with the credit card, which is a county card.
It's the fairgrounds card.
That's just, she was just asking.
Yeah, it's in good time.
So they can use that card without pre-authorization.
Unless their board wants to have it pre-authorized.
Yeah, the board can decide to do that, but
That's back into their wheelhouse.
if we could add to the next, just a side note, unless you disagree, Commissioner Todd, that we need to talk about that dome, because that's gonna just get nothing but worse, and if they
Yeah.
put time into it, I don't want it to get soaking wet, and
Becky could, I know you got a million other things. Could you figure out who did that and
Painted it or sealed it?
painted it? And when it was done? Can somebody figure that out?
Which one?
The dome and remember the guy that came and painted all the chipped paint?
Yeah.
I don't remember the date when that exactly happened.
That was through Crabtree.
Right.
Big lift.
So Dawn and I thought too.
Yeah.
when you get a chance, and look, when you go out and look up, it's coming out done.
So I think what happened, because wasn't that when Al was here?
I don't recall.
I thought it was with Steve, but I could be wrong.
I think they did not use an outside paint is what was determined.
Well, let's not get into any woods.
Yeah.
Let's just figure out who did it. Maybe we can have a discussion and see if there's any opportunity for,
So do you want to just see who did it? I mean, I know who did it now. that you said that.
And when they did it.
Just when?
that might have been an issue with the paint sticking, who knows? But
Yeah, because Lowe's did I think it was Lowe's Roofing, did
Did this-
the trim.
The foil stuff, right?
Yeah, the metal stuff to keep the water out. Because they figured out that flashing was done wrong years ago, and Lowe's did. I think Lowe's did the reflashing of that. Memory serves me.
It was because that's when they broke the sidewalk,
concrete sidewalk.
yes.
Because that was between that and the painting is when the big man had cracked the sidewalk.
And that's when they fixed the lady
Yep, put
on
her,
top.
And it was summertime.
her sword back up is what
It
it was.
was summertime.
It needs attention now.
Well, I know that it was coming off in chunks because we were trying to figure out what was falling. And it was just like peeling off. The wind was blowing it off the top. I'll do that.
Get that one for next week's agenda.
All right. Public comment. Is there any public comment? Commissioner's comment. Go ahead.
I would like to say that if the general public will be cautious this week with what transpired yesterday with the fires. There's a lot of county blades traveling roads, chasing to help out with these things, and these individuals that are chasing these things are, after yesterday, are pretty wore out. So if you see lights or a blade coming down the road, please be cautious and maybe give them an opportunity to get to where they maybe need to be, because it looks like the rest of this week we may be in for more of this stuff. So I think that we need to, the public can be cognizant about that until this fire danger goes away. It's the utmost importance.
I don't have anything today.
I just, on Nate's comment there too, is do you guys see the firefighters on the banks? They are running their tails off, and it's It was scary last night, how many fires just within about 30 minutes blew up. They went from a lightning strike to a lot of acres quick. And they're still gonna be a year, it's gonna be a problem for a while yet.
My question is for Commissioner Wagner, is there anything that we can do besides, I mean, I'm not a firefighter, or people that aren't firefighters, is there anything that can be done by us or the community that can help that situation?
Just support them wherever we can, and, you know, that's,
I actually talked to Daniel this morning about that a little bit, and
Yeah, exactly.
he and Jimmy are visiting and trying to formulate ideas to ensure that there might be help, and and Jimmy's done a wonderful job. Our road and bridge department responds like that as soon as they can. Matter of fact, he was responding to one out at Soda Butte yesterday, and I heard the landowner call him off, which could be frustrating. I mean, we're sending equipment and the landowner says no, so they're working with each other, and I think that the right channels or the right people are talking to the right people.
But
I mean, I
as far
have
as
a piece of
donations,
equipment, if they need to use it, I have skid steer, bucket, whatever, I don't know, but that's why I'm asking, I have no idea what.
you know, and
I sent, I don't know if anybody has thought of this, water,
Yeah.
jerky,
just
snacks,
snacks,
they can
things
just
like
throw
that.
in, but bottled water, Gatorade,
things like that, they were,
I don't
people want to
know,
make donations,
but you
give
can
them,
take that stuff to the fire hall if anybody ever wants to do anything like that.
you know, in a lot of cases, we can call other counties for resources, but even the counties around us, they are strapped.
Well, I did hear last night on my scanner, Niobrara County was sending stuff.
Yep, I seen one
They
there.
do have the, I don't know if it was the slurry bomber or the helicopter they were using on that alkali fire last night. Dale said, we need it, you gotta bring it.
There.
So,
I guess just be positive, supportive to them. I'd like to put the word out there, tell these people who want to chase the fire truck, stay the hell off the roads. Because I was on my way to Upton last night, and literally there was 30 cars coming out there and turning up Oil Creek Road when the fire units trying to get out there, blades trying to get out there, and looky-loos were just parking wherever, you know, and just making it worse.
So I appreciate it, yeah, that's a good idea, water, jerky, whatever, but
just stuff
if
they
there's
should
something
throw
that we can do,
packs.
that's definitely open to hear about what we can do.
Non-refrigerable, non-perishable snacks.
Yeah,
I
stuff
think,
that's
I would
not gonna
think if
melt.
you try to help and you don't know what you're doing, you'd probably make it worse, so I would advise against that too. So. Anything else? Meeting adjourned.
If I'm wrong on any of this, Marty Ertman can sue me. Let her have the burden of doing that right now. If any of what I'm saying is not true, she can sue me and prove that in court. But I had been frustrated by this sort of lack of accountability when the public reacted poorly to a newspaper story about commissioner actions. She would change the story and say that that's not really how it went down. What was your, I mean, I got out of it and then you started covering that beat. What, did that frustration, did you have that same experience leading up to the ultimate frustration of filing the secret ballot lawsuit to put a stop to that sort of thing?
100%. It's hands down the most frustrating situation I've probably ever dealt with through working at the newspaper.